Hey guys. So, I am going to be talking about my crazy insane journey of being a trucker's wife. It's been a roller coaster of emotions. It has been way more ups and downs. Everything that happened for a good reason, a better reason than not. So let's talk about this. I'm gonna try to shorten it up some. I kind of wrote down a timeline because I'm there was so much to keep up with, and it was oh my gosh, as I was writing it down, I was wow, this has been really intense. So, let's get started. So I officially became a trucker's wife when, it was right after my birthday, right before my birthday in 2011 in November. And, or actually at that time I was a trucker's girlfriend at that time. And I had no idea what to expect. I literally thought that it would be, oh, okay, you're just going to be home on the weekends. Or, oh, you're just going to be driving and then be back home. It was not. It was so wrong. So when we first started dating, we actually met in college and we were roommates. So we pretty much spent a good majority of our time together almost 24/7. So yeah, and then we were living together right after college. We moved in with his family, and typical college story, I guess. I don't know. But so we were both looking for jobs at that time. Well, he always wanted to be a truck driver. It's been in his family for years. There's just truck drivers everywhere in his family. There were two in my family, but I didn't really know the real effort and the sacrifice and the job behind really being a truck driver. It's not just, oh, you drive to this place, to this place. So when he went to this large, well-known company. I'm not going to mention any names in this video of companies. That's not what this is for. I'm not going to badmouth any companies. I'm not going to praise any companies. I'm keeping that to a minimum and not mention anything. But he was with a very well-known company to get his CDL. And he did his orientation and his training and all that. It was 2 weeks. It wasn't that long. And I thought that he would be home, but he wasn't. He was gone for 4 weeks. Because right after he got a CDL, he had to go out with his trainer and train, and he was gone for 2 weeks. And they were in Iowa a lot, along I-80. So there was a lot of snowstorms that caused them to not be able to come back down to where we were. We were living in the South at the time. And it it was hard. I'm not even gonna lie, it was hard. Because, you know, he was out for weeks, and being new to the life, I really didn't know what was going on out there. I did not know the extremes of things and what was going on. I had a lot of crying sessions. I was an emotional wreck. Being around his family did help, for sure. And I was also looking to go to another college and all of that. So, I mean, I kept busy and all that. I took a lot of like little online classes, trying to keep my mind off of things, and looking for work, which that was like that was awful. So I did like a lot of like little online stuff here and there. And yeah, so that was like the first 3 months of being a trucker's girlfriend at that time. So here's where it got really hard. So his checks were not there. The company was awful. He was gone for then, because he came home for like a split second, like just ran by the house to like grab some more things, and then he was gone. But he was gone for like 6-7 weeks, and he didn't bring home one check. The check that he did bring, I think the most that he brought home was $300. And that's when like the anger set in, because I'm like, okay, what are you doing? You could just be working like a regular job. At this time, we were 21, 22 years old at that time. So I'm like, okay, you know, there's other options. Like, come home. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not home. I don't see you that often or ever. We had only been dating a year at that time. It was bad. So we had some issues where, you know, we couldn't stay where we were at the time after we moved from his family's. And so we had to live on the truck. And that right there was probably one of the most eye-opening experiences I ever had in the trucking industry. We went everywhere on the truck. We did so many things. We saw so many places. I was so excited. I was like, you know what? Like, we were not bringing home a check, but I was like, you know what? It was kind of a relief that we had a place to go and that we were living on the truck. It was shelter, you know, and we lived off of truck stop points. Now, if you don't know what truck stop points are, they're basically like every time you fuel or every time you purchase something in the store and you scan your little card, you get points, and then you can use them to purchase things within the store or whatever. So we ate off of a lot of truck stop points. Lots of hot dogs, it was gross. You know, we lived off of that for months. For months, we lived off of that. Well, it got to the point where the truck stop points were coming in neither was his checks. Like, it was bad. Like, we were literally in such a bad position that it was scary. It was a scary time. I couldn't find work while I was on the road. I was also applying for jobs back where we lived. And at that time, nobody wanted somebody that was like fresh out of college. And it was just a dark time in our life. It was really bad. But at the same time, it was a relief that we did have something to fall back on. And that we did have that shelter, even though it was the truck. Like, we had that shelter. We had, you know, there were days that we didn't eat. There were days that we couldn't sleep because we couldn't run the truck because we didn't want to burn up the fuel. That would cost more money. It was bad. Like, so it was so cold that we couldn't sleep, and we were bundled up in like so many blankets. It was bad. It was a bad time. And for me, not knowing what I was getting myself into, I'm like, okay, what? Like, I knew that he wanted it to work, and I didn't want, we had just first started dating, and, you know, we already had a connection large enough to, like, allow us to be very honest with each other. And I remember telling him, like, why are we doing this? Can we just go back home and find a job? And he's like, well, you know, you're not finding jobs. I'm definitely not going to be able to find a job. Like, this is what it is. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, we're bringing home like $75, $125. Literally, like, it was bad. It was bad. It was really bad. So, we had to go to the terminal that was in another state. Like, it was like up in Indiana or something, somewhere, Illinois. And we had to get something with the truck worked on, and I can't really remember what it was, but something had to be worked on the truck. Well, long story short, he quit. And we were in this hotel that the company owned, and yeah, so that was fun. He came back into the hotel and he was like, you know what, I quit. And I'm like, what? Like, he's like, I can't do this anymore. He's like, we're gonna go back home. I'm gonna find another job, and, you know, try this over again. I have a CDL. I got my 3 months experience. Somebody will take me. So, yeah. So trying to find a way down back to Georgia was fun. We had to do a few things that weren't necessarily up to not really great things. We had to drive with another driver that also with the company that was also quitting. Had to drive with him for like 2 days to go back down to where we lived with all of our things everywhere, like his stuff, our stuff, packed up in this little truck. Drove for 2 days down back to where we lived. And his family picked us up. We went back with his family for like 2 weeks. And I still couldn't find jobs. You know, I was like, well, you know what? I can go back and try this online school thing again. and all that. So, he did end up finding another company. It was very easy, actually. I was like, whoa, like, it only took a while because I think they were waiting for, like, the, like, new trucks to come in, and they didn't have any, empty trucks for him. So it took, like, an additional week than what they were expecting. So, but still, like, 2 weeks, he was able to find a job like that. I think he took a bus all the way there for orientation and all of that, got in a truck. He was home 2 weeks. He was back, and he's like, all right, grab your things. We're doing this again. We're going back on the truck. Well, it was, that was fun. So he was with that company for 2.5 years. We lived on the truck for 2.5 years, and it was really cool. Like, it was a great company. It was an awesome company. We were seeing checks. We were able to save up money. And we were able to get back into a place that we wanted to be in. I started a small, like, little Etsy store while I was on the truck. So I was bringing in a little bit of income too. And it was just all around like a really good time. I was able to really see what he does out on the road, on a higher scale. And because we weren't so stressed all the time, I wasn't so worried about how we were going to eat, that I could actually focus on like what he was really doing. And I'm like, wow, it's not just driving. It's like literally risking your life every day. And people look at me like, really? He risks his life? Okay, so here. So he was a flatbedder at the time. So that includes being like on like 20-foot high loads with no security, like no like harness. Like there were some places that would have harnesses, but like even those were questionable. Climbing up on loads, tarping loads, chaining. I would go outside, help him, you know, put those on, like being able to be hands-on with what he was doing and helping him with the loads. It seriously like opened up my eyes. I was able to see like literally how people treated truckers just in a outside looking in point of view. And then also being in the situation with him. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like that's when I really like started to learn. Like there are people out there that like literally hate truckers. Like they have like hate groups and like ridiculous stuff. And I'm like, okay. And once I started like, now at this time I started joining more like trucker wives groups on Facebook, and you know, being able to connect with them, and like I'm still like, and I'm learning like all this stuff from them, and I'm seeing all of this stuff that's happening like around us, like really getting involved in the industry and seeing really what's going on. And it made no sense to me why people were so hateful and just so negative of truck drivers. And it never made sense to me. It still doesn't make sense to me. You know, there's bad in every industry, but to just group them all together and like, we just hate all truckers, and like people literally spend their day finding ways to completely destroy a trucker's life. It's insane. And it happens every single day. Every single day. And it doesn't make sense to me. Why? Because, and I'm going to be extremely honest here, you wouldn't have shit without a truck driver. You wouldn't have shit in your stores. You wouldn't have anything to buy. Who's going to deliver them? Planes? Who's going to deliver them? boats. I mean, everything is part of transportation, yeah. But to get to point A to point B, you're going to need that big old truck that's in your way, and you're just in such a hurry to get to work. And so you're going to cut them off and risk your life and theirs because you're 5 minutes late to work. Just leave earlier. And there, I said it. So yeah, I mean, there are all kinds of drivers out there, but to have literally like have hate groups, it makes no sense to me. So anyway, I'm gonna go off of my little small rant that I was just on. But so when he was with this company, there was actually a rumor that this company was going up for sale. And there were little things that showed that to be true. There were a few articles from like different like truck community newsletter type like online things, and it showed in the performance of the company. The load stopped. The communication stopped. It was just bad. And here we are like 2.5 years in, you know, we were doing really well. I mean, it was a really good time. Like, there was more good than there was bad. And it was an adventure. It was such an adventure. And like, I've taken so many pictures over the years of being on the truck. And I actually looked on Facebook. I have over 10,000 pictures of just being on the road and just being able to see all, 40, like lower 48 states, and being able to see things that people only, dream of seeing, or places that people save up for years just to go see. We got to go see them. We got to go do those things. And it was just so cool. Like, it was such a cool experience. And it allowed me to have more respect for the profession in the long run. Being able to be out there and seeing really like what it takes. So, when we found out about that, we went ahead and moved to another state. We had enough money to get our own place because we've been saving up for years. And I was able to get a job, like, right off the bat. It was, like, crazy. Like, I think it was, like, my second week, and I was like, I have a job. And having a job was awesome. And then I still had like my Etsy store going on at the same time. So I was kept very busy. He stayed on the road for a little bit longer with that company, and just to like work out some things before he completely left. And we started our own company. And we didn't start a trucking company. We just started a company to be able to run our truck under. And so that was fun. So, I mean, we started the company to this day, and it's grown into several different branches. And which is really cool, like, to see it growing. But so he left the company like over Christmas time, and he went on to a new company, and it was like towards like the beginning of like that next year. And we lived at our place for like a year. So he was with the company that he's leased to for about a year and a half ish. And it wasn't even like a bad thing. It was the place that we had. Our living situation was not good. And I'm not gonna get too much into that, but we had our own place. It was like really cool to like be able to like have our own stuff and have our own place and all that, but we had to go. Like it was just bad, so we moved again. And so when doing all that, we also went into a partnership with someone. And I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to name any companies, nothing like that. But we went into a partnership and started our own trucking company. But thankfully, nothing was in our names. Everything was in the other partners' names. We were like silent partners. Thank goodness. And we did that for 8 months. And that is when I got my operations and dispatching experience. Which that right there was a whole new ball game. Like learning the operations of running a trucking company plus doing dispatch. And I did like little odds and ends of other things too, looking for other drivers. And then we had we had 4 trucks at that time, which we grew really quickly in 8 months. Too quickly to where it kind of like fell through. It was a huge learning lesson. I actually don't, like all of these things, they sound really bad, but everything was like a learning experience. And I don't regret any decision that was ever made throughout this journey. Because we've learned a lot. And I've learned how to do operations, and dispatch, which that showed me a whole different other side of the industry. And being able to connect with other people on the other side, it was like, wow. Like, I don't know. It made me love the industry even more, which is really weird to say, but being able to be on that side helped a lot. So, the company fell through. We didn't have any loss because our name wasn't attached to anything. So he went back to being with this other company, doing his thing as a lease, just leased onto him. So like no full commitment. So it was pretty cool. Like, I mean, it was a good, it was a good company. And he was there for about 2 years. About 3 years. About 3 years. He was there for 3 years. And the company got bought out by a larger investor, and things just changed. So we had to go. But being that we're now in a position that we have our own company, we were able to lease. It doesn't sound as bad, like jumping company to company. We're just doing different accounts. That's pretty much all it is. So it's not as bad. So I've gotten in 7 years, I've gotten to see a whole lot of things, the inner workings of the industry. Just some of like the things that, not just in the industry itself, but some of the things that affect the industry that everybody thinks the trucking industry is doing, like, to themselves. that it's not, you know, and that's going to be a different video, I think, just like really going through that. I don't know. It might be. So that's been my journey so far as a trucker's wife. We got married a year ago, so I'm now officially a trucker's wife. So yeah. And now, I mean, he's still leased, you know, getting ready to start with a new account, soon. And it's a good place. It's a good place. It really is. We've had ups and downs like anything, any business. We've had our ups and we've had our really low downs. But we are in a good place. This new account is going to be really good for us. So I'm really excited. But life of a trucker's wife, being at stay at home, obviously I stay at home. I work from home aside from our own business. You know, I have my affiliate program that I'm a part of. And it's kind of like being single. And, yeah, so, but you're married. And I don't think people really understand like the mental strength that it does take to be a trucker's wife, trucker's girlfriend, trucker's fiance. It takes so much mental strength and faith within yourself, faith within your partner to make it work. And it took me years to find that strength. Because, you know, you hear all of these like things and you just have to trust your partner. Like, you have to know them. Don't give them a hard time. You know, if they're good to you, let me be clear. If they're good to you, they don't abuse you, they don't belittle you, they don't do any of these things. They're just out there to hustle hard, bring home some money, do what they got to do to get home alive and safe. Don't give them a hard time. Don't. There are so many larger things to worry about. There are so many other people to be angry with. Because I've been angry with a lot of load planners. And I've been angry with a lot of dispatchers. And a lot of brokers. And a lot of operation managers. And you're questioning why they have that title. You question a lot of other people. Not them. Because, you know, he wants to come home just as much as you want them to come home. You have to have the strength of so many people when you are a trucker's wife. If you're a mom, seriously, I'm not a mom. Like, I have 2 cats. We do not have kids at this time. But I give so many props to those that are in a relationship with a truck driver that also have kids. Seriously, y'all are like freaking superwoman. So I give like crazy props to you guys. Like that right there. Like just me being me in my own head. Dealing with things that I have to deal with for our company, with my company, with the new company that I'm launching in the summer. I'm actually starting a new brokerage. So I have all these things going on, plus keeping things around the house together, keeping bills straight, making sure things are paid. Like it is. And also just being a trucker's wife is a full-time job. Nobody really thinks that we do what we do, but you have to remember that we wear what I call 17 hats. We have to do everything for ourselves. And I'm sure, like, you're probably looking like, you know, I do things for me all the time. No, like, you gotta, like, I have to do things for me and him at the same time while at home, while he's 1,000 miles away, and still make sure that he's straight, I'm straight, everything's straight. It's a full-time job. It really is. I'm also going to make a whole other video about that too, like literally what it takes to run a trucking company, because that is its whole other thing. And plus, we just moved to Missouri, so not only is there's federal laws to abide by, there's also state laws to abide by. Every state's different. It's a lot, and you have to learn all of those things. So, and starting this new brokerage, it's like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like, wow. There's so much that goes into it. There's so much to study and to do. Just to give you an example. I didn't plan for this, but that is just the basics of starting a brokerage. Just this. And yeah, so that's our new company. It's registered. Yay! I'm so excited. Like this on Facebook. but we're gonna launch this summer. So yeah, there's a lot of studying, and then I'm going back to school to learn other things as well. Constantly learning things about the business, because my full-time job is running 2 going on 3 businesses, plus our household full-time. So I literally have 2, 3 full-time jobs at all times. Hey. So it is absolutely insane. There's some days are not as crazy as others, but like there's some days that you just really want to just like throw in the towel and be like, you know what? Forget this. But then you have to remember, when you throw in the towel, there's more laundry to do, and you don't have time for that. So you just move on. So yeah, it is a lot. You have to deal with a lot of people asking where your husband is, or are you really married, or how do you deal with him? This is the kicker. How do you deal with them being gone for so long? You get used to it. Does it ever get easier? No. The longer that they are away, the more that you miss them, obviously. I normally really hit like my emotional breaking point at 4 weeks. Like, at 4 weeks, I'm like, okay, you need to come home. Right now, he's been gone for 6 weeks. So I have been in like this crazy like mental state. And it does play with you mentally and emotionally. You know, and then you read about stories all the time with like truck drivers getting killed and murdered at truck stops and rest areas and on the side of the road even. And it's scary, because there are people that literally just hate truck drivers, and it comes down to like being a fatal hatred. And you know, it could be because they just hate truck drivers. It could be because they think that whatever they're hauling is like a really high value load, and they want to steal whatever's in the back of the vehicle. There's so many factors. There's so many things that happen. And, okay, I'm not going to cry. We have had, oh my God. Okay. We have had 2 of our friends pass away. And, oh my gosh. Okay. We've had 2 of our friends pass away. And got murdered for the same reason. And that's always a thought in the back of my mind. But at the same time, I have to like always keep on a face of, you know, he's going to be home. And oh my gosh, I did not expect to cry. Okay. So it is a very emotional thing, not just missing them, but worrying about them at all times. There's a lot of great apps to use. We personally use Life 360, and that helps me keep an eye on him and see where he's at, see how long he's been parked. I always make sure that I call him before I go to bed. He calls before he goes to bed. So I know, like, okay, he called at 9 o'clock. So he has 10 hours to be wherever he is because of his, time restraints is what I'm going to call them now. It's not even a time clock. It's a time restraint. But he has 10 hours from the time he goes to bed or shuts down for the night, whatever the case may be, to keep moving. So if he is still there an hour past when it says, I'm calling him like, hey, where you at? Just to make sure he's okay. And I love Life 360 because it lets you kind of know where he is at that time. It's a peace of mind, really, to be able to know that he's okay. And he always tells me, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just trying to sleep. I'm like, no, I'm not letting you go that easily. Like, I need to know that you're okay. So, but, so, it is a lot, and being a trucker's wife as well, you kind of have to deal with the negative stigmas that are attached to us. Like, we just stay at home all day. I do stay at home all day. I'm not even going to lie. Like, if I don't have to go out into the world, I won't. But I'm really working around the clock from, 12 to 18 to 20 hours a day. We don't all just stay home and, sit on the couch all day. We don't go out, and we all don't go out and cheat on our husbands. We don't all go out and, do all this crazy stuff. And I've had to hear it a lot, like, oh, you don't see your husband in 6 weeks, so what do? I live my fucking life because I know he's gonna be home eventually. I'm fine. Like, I'm not, like, seriously, I'm not that hard up. Like, get real. Yeah. So, that's a lot. I was actually very embarrassed to say that my husband was a truck driver for a very long time. And I'm not anymore. Because, this is the life. This is the life that we have. It's crazy. It's been a journey. Crazy enough, the distance has actually brought us together, which is actually probably not a good thing. But because we are apart, we don't get on each other's nerves as much. I'm just joking. Like, we did perfectly fine living together, like literally living together for a year. And, now being apart, it's just how life is now. Like, it's chill. We have this connection that I don't think a lot of people really understand. And I'm very, very blessed that we do have that connection, and we are able to have that bond that not many people even that live together 24/7 have. So it's pretty cool. You know, it's okay. So I hope that you guys all enjoyed listening to my story. Hopefully my journey didn't scare you guys too bad. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to work out great. It could be really hard at the beginning. I mean, everybody's journey is different, but that was mine. I'm in a really good place in my life. We're in a really good place in our life. It's just a happier time. But if you want to see more videos like that, or like this, anyway, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I will be putting up new videos every week. I'm going to have a better video upload schedule after the craziness of the holidays. I'm not really sure when I'm going to be doing them constantly, but I just wanted to get this video out before the holidays, because I know that I really won't be filming as much. I will be doing more vlogs. So, yeah. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have questions, let me know, and I will reply to them and all of that. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, night, whatever, whenever you're watching this. But yeah, be sure to subscribe. I do more than just trucker wife videos. I do all kinds of things on this channel, and it will grow as the time comes. So be sure that you still subscribe. All right. Thank you guys. Bye.